You ever see a headline that just makes you do a double take? The United States wants to buy Greenland. It sounds like a joke, right? Something from a movie? But this idea is very real, and it's popping up again with some massive geopolitical stakes. So let's dig in and figure out what's really going on here.
And right away, you get the American perspective, and it's pretty blunt. The idea is being framed as a top priority, not just some wild real estate fantasy, but something essential for national security and the economy. And the response from Greenland's leadership? It was just as fast and just as firm. You can't get much clearer than that. This isn't a starting point for a negotiation, it's a hard no, which sets up the core conflict of this whole story.
So what's the deal? Why this sudden, intense focus on the largest island in the world? Let's peel back the layers, because there are some really powerful forces at play.
Okay, so the first thing you have to understand is that this isn't some brand new, out-of-the-blue idea. No, this is actually just the latest chapter in a long, long history of American interest in Greenland. And I mean, just look at this timeline. You can see a clear pattern. We're talking way back in 1868. Right after the US bought Alaska, they were already eyeing Greenland. Then, fast forward to after World War II, and President Truman puts a formal offer on the table, $100 million. So this recent talk, it's not an outlier. It's just history repeating itself.
So why the long-standing obsession? Well, the first big reason is all about location, location, location. For years, military strategists have called Greenland the world's unsinkable aircraft carrier.
It all comes down to something called the GUK gap. That's the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap. You got to think of it like a massive naval choke point. It's the strategic gateway that Russian submarines have to pass through to get from the Arctic into the wide open Atlantic. Controlling that gap is absolutely fundamental for NATO.
And it's not like the US isn't already there. They operate the Pitsafix space base in Greenland. It's their most northern military base in the entire world. This place is critical. It's the early warning system for ballistic missiles, and it helps track satellites. It's a vital piece of the puzzle for both US and NATO defense.
But classic military strategy is only half the story. The other piece, the one that's really heating things up, is the massive economic opportunity being unlocked by our rapidly changing climate.
I mean, seriously, as the Arctic ice just melts away, the map of global trade is literally being redrawn right before our eyes. Waterways that were frozen solid for centuries are now becoming actual viable shipping lanes. And just think about how big a deal this is. We're talking about a shortcut, the Northwest Passage, that could shave over 5,000 miles off a trip from Europe to Asia. That's a game changer. And by 2050, we might see a route go straight over the North Pole, putting Greenland right at the crossroads of a brand new global superhighway.
But these new shipping routes, that's just what you can see on the surface. The real treasure map, the thing that has everyone's attention, is what's being revealed underneath all that melting ice. We are talking about rare earth elements. And don't let the name fool you, these things are the secret sauce in, pretty much all of our modern tech. Your smartphone, electric cars, wind turbines, even fighter jets, they're all completely dependent on them. And guess what? Greenland is sitting on an absolute motherlode. We're talking huge, untapped reserves of rare earths, zinc, iron ore, you name it. And this is strategically huge, especially when you remember that right now, China basically has a stranglehold on the market, controlling about 90% of the processing for these critical minerals. So let's recap. You've got a priceless, strategic location, and it's sitting on top of a treasure chest of minerals. So what's that actually worth? What's the price tag on an island like Greenland? Well, analysts have basically come up with two different ways to do the math. The first way is to value what's in the ground, all those raw materials. The second way is to value the ground itself, its one-of-a-kind strategic location. Okay, so if you just look at the mineral reserves that we think we can economically dig up right now, some estimates put the value at a cool $186 billion, a staggering number. But hang on. If you use that second method, valuing its strategic real estate by comparing it to a place like Iceland, that number it explodes. We're talking $2.76 trillion. That figure alone tells you just how geopolitically important this piece of land really is. All right, so whether it's billions or trillions, the value is clearly off the charts. But, like we saw right at the beginning, a sale is just not on the table. So if they're not buying it, what's actually happening? Let's untangle this complex relationship between Greenland, Denmark, and the US to see why partnership is really the only way forward. And this right here really shows you the bizarre dynamic they're working with. Geographically, Greenland is enormous. It's over 98% of the Kingdom of Denmark's land. But its economy? It's tiny. We're talking less than 1% of the combined total.
But, and this is a big but, for Denmark, the United States is its single biggest customer. More than 20% of everything Denmark sells to the world goes to the US. That economic reality means Denmark has to be very, very careful in how it handles its relationship with America. It's a delicate diplomatic dance.
And the reality is the current system of partnership already works, and it works pretty well. There's a defense agreement from 1951 that secures all of America's military interests. And remember a few years ago when a Chinese company tried to invest in Greenland's airports? The US and Denmark worked together and blocked it. So cooperation is already getting the job done without all the drama of a sale. When you really step back and look at it, this whole Greenland story is so much bigger than just one island. It's like a perfect preview of the future of the entire Arctic, a region where climate change, big money, and geopolitics are all crashing into each other. And that leaves us with the big question for the 21st century. As the top of our world continues to melt and open up for the first time in human history, are we going to see nations figure out how to work together in this new frontier? Or is it about to become the next great arena for global conflict?